Hello and welcome to this tutorial. My name is Martha and today I'll be showing you how to create metadata using the Arbil metadata editor. Arbil is a free online tool created by the Language Archive at the Max Planck Institute, and it can create IMD and SIMD metadata. So the first step is to create a corpus node. So you can do that by selecting local corpus, right-clicking, selecting add, and then go to corpus. So now we can enter the name of our corpus, and at the Endangered Languages Archive, this will always be language name dash depositor last name dash deposit key, but you can think of this as an ID for your corpus, and it should be something short and snappy. So for mine, it's going to be a mommy, my last name, and then 0497. Next is the title, which should be more descriptive. And finally, the description, you can put a little description of your project. And here we select the language. Often people think that they should select the language of that they are recording or that they are researching, but this is about what language is the metadata in. So for us, that's English. And then anything that is not yet saved will be blue, so Command S or Control S to save. The next step is to create a bundle or a session, and you can do that by selecting your corpus node, right-clicking, going to add, and then select session. So now you can enter a name for your session. And again, you can think of this as an ID. So mine is going to be Shimaguchi 001. The title is more descriptive and it will be Traditional Hachigatsu Odori Song. The date of the recording, 2018, March 10th. A quick note about the date: if you enter the date in any other format, it will give you an XML error in Arbil. I'll show you an example. You can check it by selecting the bundle and then right-clicking, going to check XML conformance. And here we can see there's an error, and it tells us what the error is, the date right here. But if we fix that, and then try it again, and it'll tell us the file is valid and it's fine. The next field is description, and here you can enter a description of the content of the recordings. And again, our language, the metadata is in English. The continent is Asia. The country is Japan. Region is Setouchi. And then the address, I'm going to put Konya High School here for the address because that's where the recording was, the recording took place. The metadata is always going to be open, so I would recommend not putting anyone's personal address here. For example, if you record one of your consultants in their home, you probably don't want to put their personal family home address here, but you could do something like putting the last name plus home. So for example, Tsutsui home, Ota home, something like this. Okay, so when you create a bundle or you create a session, you'll notice that two fields are automatically added. These are content and project, so we'll work on those first. First, let's do project. So again, the name is going to be Amami dash my last name dash deposit key. The title is my same as my corpus node, documentation of Southern Amami Oshima. The ID, some archives use this space for a grant ID, for example. You can also leave it blank if you don't have anything like that. The contact name is myself. The address and the email, I'm going to leave these blank because, again, the metadata is always discoverable and open, but I will put my organization. And here you can put a little project description. Next, we'll enter the content metadata. So the genre here, you can choose from the drop-down menu, but you can also enter your own. You can enter a subgenre, a task if you're doing an elicitation and you have a specific task, such as the frog story or the pear story, that can be entered here. It's also a drop-down menu. The modality, the subject, interactivity. This one was non-interactive, planning type, semi-spontaneous for me. Whether or not there was involvement, you can include that here. We're going to put non-elicited. The social context, this was in the public. And then something about the event structure can also be included. Channel. And then you can describe the languages that were being used in context to the session. And then in the description, here you can say something more about the recording, such as you can describe the setting. You could say something like, oh, you can hear chickens in the background or children playing in the background. Something like this might be useful here. The next thing to add to our content is topics and keywords. And the way to think about topics and keywords is the topics will be more general, more broad, and the keywords are more specific. And the most useful way to organize your data into topics and keywords is to consider how you want to organize your data for future research. So, for example, if you're researching transitivity, you might want to mark all the bundles that have a particular transitive structure or have particular transitive structures with the topic transitivity, and then that will allow you to pick all the bundles that have transitivity as a topic. And then for the keyword, you could specify, for instance, the type of transitive or intransitive structure in these bundles marked for transitivity. So for mine, I'm going to select content, select add, and then select content key. And then here we have keys, key, standard template key. Right click and select open in long field editor. And select change key name. And then here we'll type topic with capital T. So now we have keys, key, topic. I'm not working on transitivity, but I am working on pragmatics. Something I want to be able to pick all of my bundles out for the future is politeness. So I'm going to mark this bundle with the topic politeness. And then now I need to add a keyword, which I'll do by selecting content, going to add content key. And then again, select keys, key, standard template key, right click, open in long field editor, change key name, and write keyword with capital K, click apply. And for the keyword here, I'll have honorifics. Oh, and actually I want small p and small h. The next step is to have your content languages and your working language or languages. The content language is the language being recorded, and the working languages are the languages being used for analysis. So again, right-click Content, select Add, Content Language, and here we'll have the ISO code. ISO code is AMS for Southern Amami Oshima. And in description, we'll write content language. And Command S to save. Next, we want to add the working languages. So again, right-click Content, Add Content Language. First content language is going to be English, because I do my analysis in English and I'm writing the metadata in English. Or, first working language. But I'm going to add one more because I also use Japanese. Oops. The next step is to add our resource files. So first we have to add a working directory, which we only have to do once. And you do that by going down here to this box, selecting working directories, right click, and then select add working directory. And then this is the folder on my machine that has all of my audio, video, documents, all of my recordings are here. So then add working directory, and sometimes it takes a few seconds. There it is. Great. So now we can see here I have the raw data needs metadata, and those are all my sessions. And then this is where my Arbil export will go when I'm done. But for now, I just need this folder, raw data needs metadata. And here are the files that correspond to this bundle. So I have an annotation file, a PDF, a PFSX file from Elon, and the audio recording. And I'm just going to select those all and then drag and drop them into the session. Okay, and now you can see Arbil has separated them into media files. Here's the WAV audio file, and then the written resources are here as well. Next, we need to add some actors, so add some information about who is actually in these recordings. So we do that by selecting the bundle, right-clicking, going to add, and then add actor. Okay, so the first actor is going to be myself. I am the researcher. If you have a code for your actors, you can include that here. If the family social role is important, for example, whether they're an elder or a teacher, that might be relevant for your research. Here in the languages descriptions, you can describe all of the languages in this actor's linguistic repertoire, even if they're not being recorded in this particular session. So for example, Martha speaks English as an L1. She also speaks Japanese and Amami and Spanish, and then something else about the levels if that's relevant. Oops. Ethnic group, if this is important, you can put the actor's age, birth date, again adhering to the date format that Arbil likes so that you don't get an XML error. Education, here you can indicate whether or not you've anonymized the actor, and then the contact name. Again, I'm not going to put my personal address or email address because the metadata is always public, but I will put my organization. And in description, you can include something about the actor's education, occupation, any other details that are relevant. The next step will be to add the actor's languages, so you can do that by selecting the actor, going to add, and then actor language. Okay, and here we're going to put English. You can indicate if it's the mother tongue or the primary language, and then a description. Next one is going to be Southern Amami Oshima. And Arbil doesn't know this language, so I'll have to enter the ISO code myself. And then the last one, Japanese. Okay, so I'm the researcher or the collector for this session, but also I need to add the person who's in the recordings. So I'll go to Actors, right-click, Add Actor. And here we have a speaker. Her name is Akko. Oops. Full name is Akko Okano. She doesn't have a code, so I'll skip that. The family social role is an important languages description. Akko speaks mommy fluently. She is a bilingual Japanese speaker, speaks some English. Ethnic group is Amami. Age is 40. Birthday is 1978, May 10th. She's female. Ako went to university. She's not anonymized. And then I'm the contact. You'll probably want to put yourself as the contact for all of your consultants rather than them. And again, I'm leaving address and email blank, and organization is SOAS. And then any description of Ako's occupation or other details can go here. The next step is to add Ako's languages, but to keep this tutorial not too long, I'm going to skip that, but you would do it exactly the same way as how I added the languages to me as an actor. And then the last step is to enter the metadata about the access for the resource files. So we'll just do one here. Let's do the audio WAV file. So what we're interested here is access availability. And at ELAR, we have three access levels. We have O, which is open, meaning anyone can access the materials. U, which is user, so anyone can access the materials as long as they make a free ELAR account. And then S is subscriber, which means the materials are closed, but if someone wants to view the materials, then they can contact the archive, and then we will get in contact with the depositor or the researcher, and then they will get in contact with the consultants and see if it's all right for them to view the materials. So this one is going to be O. And then you'll have to put the contact name. That will be me. And then the organization is SOAS. And then access description. At ELAR, we don't require that this be filled in unless the access availability is S. So if this was S, you would have to explain why is the material closed. And it can be something as simple as the consultant didn't give consent for it to be open. They gave consent for it to be archived, but not for it to be accessible to everyone. Or in the case of maybe it's child data or a sensitive topic. But in the case of O, we'll just leave it blank. And then Command S to save. Next, we need to enter the access for the three remaining resource files right here. And you may have noticed that it's a bit tedious to always be entering everything field by field. So I'm going to show you a shortcut. So to bulk edit, we'll go to the bundle, right-click, select search. And then here we'll type access availability because that's what we want to bulk edit. And then click search. So now here we can see our 4 resource files. Here at the bottom is the WAV file that we did the access for manually. Okay, and so these 3 remaining files, I want them to be subscriber access, so I want them to be closed. So you'll enter S for 1, and then copy it. Select the remaining file, the remaining columns, and then paste. If, for example, I wanted the whole column to be S, you could also just enter S once, right click, and then select copy cell to whole column, and that would make everything be S. But we just want these three, so we won't do that. However, I will be the access contact for all of the resource files, so we can do that here. Copy cell to whole column. And then again for access organization. And because these are S, we do have to enter the description. So we can say something like data under embargo until 2020 when researcher completes PhD. And then we can just copy that, paste, and paste. This one we can leave blank because it's the first one that we entered as open. So then Command S to save. And now we want to check the XML conformance of the bundle before we export it. So right click, check XML conformance, and file is valid. There's no errors, so that's great. And now we're ready to export. So we'll select the bundle, or you can select the corpus if you're ready to export everything, but we're just going to do this one bundle. Right click, go to export, and then on your machine, find the folder that you've already created for your Arbil export, and then select Export Branch Destination Directory. You'll want to tick this box to export the resource files. If you are just editing the metadata, you don't have to tick this one, but since we've created the metadata fresh here, we want to export the resource files as well, and then click Start. Okay, and it's done. There's 0 errors. If there was an error here, you would want to click Details to find out why there was a problem, but we don't have any errors, so we're fine. And then in this Arbil Export Ready for Archiving folder, we can see here's the MD metadata file that Arbil created, and then here are all of the resource files that go with that bundle. The last shortcut I'm going to show you is favorites. So it can be quite tedious to be entering the actors especially, and also the project, since the project will probably be the same for every bundle, and the actors also might repeat themselves. So you can add them to favorites. Okay, so for example, you can select the actor. Let's select Akko, and you can just right click and then select Add to Favorites list. I will do me as well since I'll be in every session, and then also the project. And then if we go down here to favorites, they're right there. And then I'll show you. So for example, let's say we're making, we're creating a new bundle. Okay, so here's our new bundle. So we have project, a blank project. We'll just delete that one. And then we can drag this one up from favorites, drop it into Shimaguchi 002, and then there we have it. And then actors as well. We can just drag and drop. So this can be a time saver, especially if you are working with the same consultants for a lot of different sessions. It's just one way to save yourself some time. Okay, so this concludes this Arbil tutorial. I hope you found it useful. If you have any comments or questions, I'll link the Arbil forum in the description box below this video, and you can also get in touch with me, which I'll also leave my contact information in this video's description. Thank you for watching.